What's up? I suck at gardening. You want me to babysit your son Jeremy? Well, if I suck at gardening, I guess I give babysitting a shot. What could go wrong? You'll get it if you saw the movie. Hey, what's up everyone? Thor here. Halloween ends, or does it? Guess we'll find out. Okay, so Halloween ends. This is going to have many different opinions. I think a lot of people initially are going to hate it, maybe eventually come around to it, but I think the reactions initially are going to be very negative. I think there's a lot of good things in the movie. I think there's a bunch of missed opportunity. I'm going to go over in the spoiler video how I would have handled it. Maybe a little bit in this, because I don't want to talk about spoilers. I just want to talk about what I thought about the movie. It had some really good kills, some really interesting kills that stuck with you. Sorry, I had to pour this just, so we know where we're at in the video. Though if I get another one, I can just cut it and make it look however I want. But that's besides the point. So, yeah, the kills were great. Well, some of them were. Most of them were. Some of them were interesting. Well, there was a brutal one. It's kind of out of focus because if they showed it, I don't think the movie could be showed. It'd probably be like NC-17 or whatever. It was that brutal. It was great though. I was pretty impressed by that one and a couple other ones. The problem everyone's gonna have is there's not a lot of Michael Myers in this movie. You don't see him for the first quarter of the movie. Then when he shows up, he's kind of off on the sideline. They spent a lot of time on this new character named Corey, and I think the actor did a really good job with the role. But I really think his character would have been more effective if he was present in either Halloween 2018 or Halloween Kills, because him not being there, and I'll talk about that tomorrow in my video of how I think this should have went. And I'll just say, I really think this movie could have been, if they changed things around and did a different movie and then led into this, I really think this could have been where the sequels go, taking it in a different direction, continuing it on. This one seems to be pretty final. I think it is. Like I said, I think it is. Right now, I don't want to give it a number. I really want to think about it. I think the movie overall was okay. I think it's got issues. I don't think it's super satisfying. I like the idea. The execution's not there. And if this idea was, more planned from the start, and they had this character and what they do with them earlier, I think it would have been far more interesting. They take this idea of, is someone always evil, or do they just snap one day and become evil? And they kind of wrestle with that. They don't really give an answer to it. It's just kind of what it is. So they don't really answer that for Michael. They don't answer for really anyone. But I do like, what I do really like about it is, just like in the first one, they're all watching A Thing from Another World. John Carpenter was super influenced by that. He went on to do The Thing, which is one of my personal favorite movies of all time. 1982, The Thing. And they show parts of that in the movie, which was an interesting callback because they're watching The Thing from Another World in the original one. I really like that. There's a couple cameos I really saw that I liked. Like Darcy the Mail Girl from Joe Bob's show. She's a quick cameo, but it's so great. She's awesome, so that was awesome. They had brought back the kid from the first one. The one that everyone loved, so that was cool. They also showed a victim that survived one of Michael's attacks and the aftermath. And it's kind of interesting how they kind of, showed how Laurie's a survivor, but she's living with a lot of difficulties and issues from her experiences, a lot of trauma, but they showed someone that has trauma but also has physical, like Laurie's got scars and stuff. Well, this person's, in a rough spot, and her life's never going to be the same again because of what happened, and she's facing both physical and mental trauma, which is an interesting way to look at it. Then, they hammer down, with Laurie being a victim, but also being a survivor and moving on. That's a big part of it. Also, her daughter's obviously dead, so that's tough, but her granddaughter's living with her now, and she's got her own life. She works. I kept forgetting that these people were in high school, 4 years ago, so now they're 21, so they can go to the bar and drink and stuff. So I was just oh wait, are they young people? Oh no, they're not. This is a 4-year jump. I just watched 2018 and Kills a few days ago, so I just had in my head that they were a little bit younger because Kills and 2018 are the same night, so they were 17, 18. So getting used to that, and they brought some good points. Allison says to Laurie one time, yeah, I know you had this trauma from Michael Myers, but Michael Myers killed my mom. Michael Myers killed my friends. You're not the only one that's facing this. And it kind of brings up how, the whole town's had their issues, and I don't want to dive into any spoilers in this, so I'm not going to jump super, super far. They finally did something with the tower. They hinted at the tower being a thing in the other ones. Payoff's not great. The Darcy cameo is there, so that was cool. But outside of that, Tower is just... It's a cool little nod to Halloween 3, though, because they did the mask in the other one. So, they try to fit in whatever nods they can. A couple of Easter eggs I picked out that I'll have to remember and talk about more tomorrow. Because I just want to make sure I don't ruin it for anybody. It does bring up some interesting ideas how... Even with Laurie and her trauma, how she kind of brings it into her life. How her seeking it out or not being able to get past it brings harm to herself and others. And it's just an interesting viewpoint. Not necessarily accurate, but maybe a little bit accurate. There's a little bit of truth on a lot of things. And I could see some of that there, because Laurie brought pain with her obsession on other people. Obviously, her close family, but there's people just around because when he escaped, he took his wrath out on anyone and everyone. He wasn't necessarily looking out for her. It's just happenstance that they run into each other, and I think they go with that a lot more in this one. And I do like that about the series is they did away with the brother and sister thing. I kind of like that he's just a force that just kills and there's no explanation. He's much scarier that way when there's not that much backstory. The problem with the Rob Zombie one is there's too much backstory. We don't need to know that. We just need to know he's evil, he kills, and I'll talk about tomorrow, but I have some ideas where the franchise can go, and I really wish they kept this for a fourth one. A lot of the story took it to a fourth one because they could have continued it on and made a whole another trilogy that I just thought another idea that maybe I'll talk about tomorrow. It's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it because they show you the final battle with Laurie and Mike. They showed you a little bit of that, and they gave a few hints at what the actual story is, but the final battle with Laurie and Mike's quick. It's kind of underwhelming. I was disappointed by that. But, I don't think anyone's going to beat the one in 2018 anyway. Anything they could do. The trailers really didn't give away any of what the story is because that's part of the... it's a big plot point, a big interesting fact. A lot of YouTubers picked it up on watching a trailer. Some were Jimmy Champagne. We watched the movie. Were pretty spot on. So I knew that going in, but it didn't ruin the movie for me. It just makes me think more about how this would have been better as a fourth film. I saw it in the theater. Having these movies in October is awesome. And it's a rainy night. Perfect night for it. We had a really good theater with a good group of people. They released it on Peacock tonight, so I could have watched it in my own living room. But I got the tickets early and went because I didn't think it was going to show on Peacock till tomorrow. But I'm working on this review, going to get this out. Tomorrow I'll get my spoiler review and how I think Halloween should go. I have a lot of ideas for it because I've been thinking about filming some short films about new origin stories for a lot of like slashers and things like that, and some other like horror-based stuff for Halloween. I don't know if I'll do it this year. Hopefully next year. If not, we'll see what happens. But till then, Thor out. I'll see you later.